Two people waiting. Oh, someone named Test just joined. Let's see who Test is. Might be booting Test. I don't know. Wait. If you were joined as the name Test, I just advise you to rename yourself just for.
Let's see who Test is. Might be booting Test.
Oh. Scott, I muted you because you're causing an echo. How's everyone doing today?
All good so far.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
Stopped raining.
If anyone's on the live stream and you want to join the cool people in this hangout, then link is in the email. It's the red button, and the link is a text link under the video on the community. So, there you go. And if you just happen to join the live stream and you want in, then because you got notification from YouTube, then you head to the community and click the link. I learned I cannot post Zoom links in YouTube chat or Twitter because bad things happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's better.
Let's get cooking here. Let me. So let's just start diving in. Why not? Unless anyone has any initial questions, I can start diving into some of the cool stuff that happened in 38 and 39. I know many of you here are regulars at the Hangouts, so this is probably going to be some monotonous regurgitation, but hey, hearing stuff multiple times is always a good thing.
Sinks in better.
And one of the big features, you can actually thank Steve, who's here right now, for probably the first feature I'll review today, which is going to be the unique IDs. Or sorry, incremental IDs. That's what I meant to say. Incremental IDs. All right. Okay. I just thought while I'm sharing, I think it sends me a little pop-up notifications if someone joins and I can't. Let me get the participants window open just so I can quickly do that. Okay, someone joins. Perfect. All right. So we'll go over beta 38 and 39. Okay. First, but we'll go over beta 38 first, and then we'll jump into 39 since that's the order things are in. And oh yeah, AutoGen IDs was 38. I thought so. Okay. Let's go ahead and don't need that right now. All right. So first new feature that we'll talk about in beta 38 is incremental IDs inside Total CMS 3. So Total CMS 3 has always been able to auto-generate IDs based on fields, okay? But those, it was either like you can have like a unique ID, but it was like some random letters and numbers, right? And you can have a timestamp, which, obviously gave you a timestamp of right now. But like it would have been nice to just to have like a database has a lot of us are used to just to have an incremental ID. So the first item we add is number 1, and then number 2, and then number 3, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, Steve wasn't the first person to ask this, but he just happened to be talking about it during a hangout, and it clicked in my head on how to implement it. Okay, in a pretty nice way. So there we go. Let's look at it. So as you probably know, inside Total CMS in the schemas, okay, in the ID field, there in the settings for, we can set something called auto gen. Okay. Now, auto gen has a lot of options. And if we go into the documentation and go into field settings, it's actually towards the top. There's ID auto gen. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do. And here's an example right here that basically will take the title. Let's say we have a field called title. Let's probably comment inside like a blog post. Okay. And then I can do now. And what now will do is it'll actually put the number of seconds. It's something called Unix time, right? It's here's just a long, what looks like a random number, but it's actually the time, the number of seconds since January 1st, 1970 to be exact. Okay. So that's what that huge number is. So there's a few like little special indicators that we can do. We can do now again, which is this number. We can do a timestamp, which is the year, month, date, and time. We can do something called a UUID, which is a very long bit of random strings and letters and whatnot. So just basically a standard UUID, if you're familiar with that. There's a shorter UID, which is kind of similar, but it's just much shorter. And then we have our two new options. We have OID, and then this OID dash, and then the number of zeros. Okay, so what is that? Let's look at some examples here. So here's the OID examples that we have. And here, if I do auto gen and then item dash OID, what this is going to do is, as we see here, let me turn on my cool little cursor tool here. Okay, as we see here, it'll do item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. And then once it gets into item 1000, it would be item dash 1000. Okay. Now, while that's cool, it does give us an incremental number. From a visual standpoint, sometimes it's nicer to make sure that we have a certain number of zeros, pre-leading zeros is kind of common. So let's look at this example here, where I can do product dash, and then inside the little this little dollar curly braces, we have OID dash, and then the number of zeros here corresponds to the size or the minimum size of the number. So here we would have product dash, and then 4 zeros and a 1, and then products dash zeros 2, so on and so forth. And as this increments, as the number grows, it'll fill up these zeros. So just a way of giving us the ability to, making sure that we have a preset number of things, just that it looks nice, and it makes sorting actually a little bit easier and nicer to use as well. And here's just one more example where I just have the ID is purely just the auto incremental ID. So it would be 01, 002, 003. And just to let you know, once this hits 999, and it went to 1000, the actual ID would actually be 1000. So again, while this is stating 3 places, be a little forward thinking and think how many, be realistic on how many you're going to have and kind of plan that out. Okay. Because you can't go back and redo 1,000 IDs. Well, I guess you could, but it would be a little bit of work. Okay. So with a little bit of forethought, you can go ahead and just make sure you set that up. But this will grow past 3 digits if the number of objects that are created exceeds that. Any questions? All right, let's show you a real life scenario. So here I'm in my product schema. We're going to go to the ID, and I already had this set up. So here I had AutoGen, and then I have PID dash, and then this is where I want to set in the dynamic data. So I did 1, 2, 3. I did 6 zeros. This is going to generate a 6-digit ID that will auto increment. Okay, and that's all we have to do on the schema side. And then on the product side, or on the object side, okay, you'll see that I already have a bunch. Now, I had some pre-existing objects in this collection. but I went ahead and dynamically created a lot of them. Okay. So here you'll see that I have PID dash and then a number, PID dash and then a number. And if I go ahead and create a new product here, okay, you'll see that the product ID has now incremented to, I'm out now at 1,237. Okay. Now, what's kind of cool, something that you isn't necessarily visible here, okay, is before the ID needed to happen, or the autogen, I have to say, would only actually occur in the form. Okay. However, what we've done now is I've added a feature where if you go ahead and either via the API or via import, if you exclude an ID from that, it will actually auto create the ID based on the autogen field that you have set inside the schema. Okay, let me show you an example. So I'm going to go ahead and export this collection. Let's just export it to a CSV file. Okay, and let's just open this up and modify it slightly. Yes. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trash the image, and then I'm going to trash the ID column so that there's no IDs. So now I have a bunch of data here, okay, that I want to import into my products collection. Now, because I completely trashed the ID column, what this is going to do is it's going to create new objects for me, and each one is going to get an incremental ID. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. And we're going to go ahead and import. And I'm going to choose this CSV file. We're going to import that and just say import. Done. That was fast. So if we go into products now, okay, we should see, oh, I need to rebuild the index. Uh-oh, that didn't seem to work. What happened there?
Not a cache thing.
I don't think so. Let's see. I'll clear the cache. I don't think that was, of course. Still says 28. Interesting. Let's try the import again. Nothing's added to the queue. That's interesting. Said it worked. I know I tested this before. Like I implemented it. Interesting. All right, well, that's something to look into. Let's just quickly look at Okay, well, that should work, guys. I'll make sure I fix that. Okay, interesting. Actually, here, I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm gonna try this. Let's import. I'm gonna import that. Actually, you know what? Sometimes I've noticed I'm just going to open this file in VS Code and just save it. I'm gonna close this again. I know I like that easy CSV editor, but I've noticed that sometimes it yeah, I'm not sure what it does. So just by opening that file inside VS Code, sometimes I've seen things work differently. Okay, well, it obviously wasn't that. So, oh well. Let's rebuild the index just for fun. Yep. Okay, something to look into. I broke something. I'm gonna try one last thing. Let's just open that.
How dare you break stuff?
Gonna queue job it for import. I know this works via the API because actually Davide, who I see is here, uses this via the API. So maybe I didn't test it with CSV import. I swear I did though. And let's go to the job queue really quick. Where is that? Here. job queue. Oh, there's no jobs in the queue. All right, so that's just totally busted. All right, I will continue to move on. That should work, everybody.
Joe, did you show how to make it start that incremental? How to make it start from a higher number?
I have not. I could show that. It's really easy. So if you notice, um, in this, when I added a new product, okay, it started at 1237. Now, obviously, I only have 28 objects in this collection. So, like, how did I do that? So right now it is there's nothing to do in this area. But if we go ahead and edit the collection, what we'll see is there is a field here that you can't edit, okay, and it's read only, that shows the number of objects created. Okay. But we can tweak this if we wanted. So what we would do is you would go into your let me find it. You'd go into your data, and you have to go into TCMS data, and then you would go into, this was my products collection, so we'd go into products, okay? And inside there, you would see there's a meta.json file. And you'll notice that there is a count field. You can make this count be whatever you want. So let's say I'm going to make this to be 5,000, or let's do 5,001, okay, just for fun. And I'm going to save that, okay? So now if I go into here and I create a new product, you'll notice that the incremental ID is now 5,002. So, yeah, that, not sure if you want something to do that's simple enough to handle. I probably won't add a way of doing that in the admin UI. But yeah, a simple little hack if you want to start at a specific number. Okay.
In general, you would do this if somehow the clients or users have access to that ID and you don't want them to know they're number 1 or client number 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
You might want to start at some random number like
yeah,
536, instead of
something like
1,000.
that.
Because if you
Yeah,
started at 1,000 and someone's 1,001, that can look almost as similar as 01. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So you can start it at 503, and then they'd be like, "Oh, look, I'm 504." Yeah, exactly. Good question. Okay, let's see. Any questions on the autogen or the incremental IDs at all? No. Okay. Okay. Let's see. There's 2 new fields. Okay. So I think I have them here. I have them both here. Okay. So there is now a radio field. Okay. So here you'll see that I have radio test, yes or no. Okay. And I also have a price field. I guess let's look at the price field first. I'll show you how to do that. I mean, it's dead simple. Okay. The price field is a number field, but sometimes it wasn't necessarily apparent on how to create or turn the number field into a price field. So I thought this was going to be something that people wanted enough, where just creating that price field just made sense. Okay. And it has a custom icon that we can customize for the currency that you are currently using. Okay. So let's have a look at this price field. So all this magic happens in the schema. So if we go into products, you'll see that I have a price field. And if we look here, you would set the form field type to be price. Okay. And then there is a setting, and you can set the icon that you want using the class setting. So here I use icon pound. And if we go into the docs again and look at field settings, I'm just going to search for price here. You'll see that it's at the very bottom, and there is dollar, euro, pound, and yen are supported. Okay. If you don't supply anything, the dollar is used by default. But you can then obviously easily configure that. Okay. So pretty simple. That's it, right? It's just setting up the price field. It automatically adds in the decimal places for you, and it adds a nice little icon. Okay, so there we go. And if you want to see what, let's just change that to euro for fun. Save that. And we'll go into products. And now that icon is a euro. Okay, there you go. Pretty simple. Okay. Radio. Radios, I think, are really cool. Okay. I think I saw Bill Bird in here. He moved a lot of his select boxes to radios, and essentially it's the same thing as a select box. It just allows you to see all of your available options, and you can only select one. So here I have yes or no. Obviously, you can have as many options as you want. Okay, but let's essentially what this will return is a string. So yeah, it will return in this case either yes or no. Okay, but let's have a look at how to set this up. So let's go into here. Obviously, it all starts in the schema. And let's go to here. I added a field called radio. Okay. And what you would do here is inside settings and options, you could define the options that you have available using the same way that we set up a select box. Okay. And so all of the options that we can use on a select, we can also use on a radio. What do I mean by that? So we can actually use settings and there's options. Let's look at some of those. So if we go into the docs and we look at field options, first off, there's a lot of different ways that we can do things here. Okay. I guess, well, grouped options are not supported in radio. Okay. You'd either have options with values or a simple option list. Okay. Let's look at the options with values. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to go into the schema. Let's go into radio. And let's go into the options here. Now, before I just add this simple yes, no, I'm going to paste this in. And then what this does is it allows us to give a label and a value being different. In the other option where I just had yes, no, the label and the value were the same. Okay, when I clicked yes, the value is saved as yes. If I click no, the value is saved as no. But here I can have a label of option 1, but then the value saved is something different. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. Let's go ahead and save. So now if we go ahead and look at a product, okay, we'll see now that I have option 1, option 2, and option 3. But when I click this, the term option 1 isn't saved. The value number, the number 1 is saved, right? So what is this? Let's just do this. This is PID 13. I'm going to go ahead and click on option 2. And we're going to save that. And let's just go look at that data. So if we looked at product 13, if we see radio, the value of 2 is saved, right? So again, that is just saying that the label and the value can be different. Okay. Now we can also do a lot of other really cool things. Okay. With just like we can with select, where we can actually bring in data from a different collection. Okay. And display it as an option. Okay. So for example, if we go into, let's go into the docs and go into field settings. Let's find relational options. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And let's say I wanted to, now this is going to be a lot, but I do have a members collection here. And let's say I wanted to give an option to select a member from a radio. Okay. I think this is probably too much, but it will show you an example of what we can do. Okay. So here I have first name, last name, and ID. Okay. In the members collection. So let's go ahead and let's look at my schema here. Let's go into radio. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete all of that because we're going to paste this in. Okay. So we're going to do collection is members. The label, we're going to do first space last. I think it was first last. I should have paid it better attention. Or it might have been first name, last name, and the value is ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the label is going to be the first name and the last name, and the value is the ID. So what I'm expecting here is the radios is going to show, there's going to be a radio button for every single member where the label is the first name and the last name, and the value is the ID. Okay. Yeah, should be right. Save that. I could have messed up. It could have been first name, last name, but let's see if I got it right on the first go. So let's go ahead and click on this guy. And there we go. That worked. So here I have a radio button for every single member. Again, I don't think this is a valid use case. There's just too many. I think radios look good if you have a certain number. Okay. But having this many, probably not good. Okay. But I can go ahead and click on one, and the value would be the ID of this particular member that gets saved into the CMS. Okay. Pretty cool. All right. Now, let's say I do have a lot. This sort of layout doesn't really work very well. It doesn't look good at all. Okay. So what can I do to spread these out a little bit so that I can, I have all this space over here. Let's turn these into a grid of radio buttons. So let's go into the docs again. Let's go into field settings, and let's just search for radio there. Okay. So in radio, there is one setting that we can do. It's a setting called field grid. And this allows us to define the width of every single radio button. Okay. And it will fill in as many as it can. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. Let's go back into the schema and go into radio, go into settings, and let's add this in here. There we go. So I added field grid of 250. Let's just stick with the default. Let's see what that looks like. And let's go into products. Let's just go into one of these. Voila. There now I have each individual one is 250 pixels wide, and it creates a nice grid of radio buttons for us. Pretty cool, right? Sweet. Any questions on radios?
Can you sort that list?
I'm sorry?
Can you sort that list?
Can you sort that list?
It's not in.
That's a good question. How are these sorted?
Those are sorted by what's currently sorted in the database. If you click members,
Yeah.
it should be in order.
It's
Now, you
it's
can
probably
either,
in order.
but you can add an option on there to resort them.
Sort options, right?
Do I?
Yeah, You have
Do I have
you have sort options.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, just scroll down there somewhere. It's there. Command F. It's there. Sort. I think you have it with list.
Sort
Yeah.
options true. There we go.
Um,
But then does it sort it by the ID or the label? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we go into radio. Let's do sort options true. Oops. I broke the JSON. What'd I do? Oh,
Forgot
I put
the
a
last
dot.
comma.
I put a dot instead of a comma. What? Oh, I didn't copy the double quote. Copy paste woes. All right, there we go. Let's see. I have no clue how that's going to work. Let's see. I'm going to assume that's sorted by the value.
Go to the members collection for a second.
No,
See
it
that?
didn't.
It's the same one.
Yeah, but I added sort options. It's possible that sort options doesn't work in radio. I it definitely works in select, but yeah,
Right.
that option probably doesn't work in radio.
If you edit this collection and change the sorting of this collection by first name, does that change the radio? Check that.
You mean this
Yeah,
sorting?
yeah.
No.
Yeah, change that.
This it sorts this table only. It doesn't affect the sorting of the index.
You want to entertain me?
Okay, fine. Let's sort by last, or no, let's sort by first name, since that was the field. All right, so we'll sort by first name. And if we go back into the collection, right? So it's sorted by first name.
Yeah.
And if we go into collection and we go into products and we scroll down,
No.
yeah, it's still the same.
Well,
That's interesting. I can add a sort options, and I think for a radio button, it should always sort by the label.
it would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what is sort options true actually doing, even on the other fields?
It's sorting the options in a select drop down.
Yeah, okay, that's where I've used it. Yeah.
Yeah. I added that to
But
the
can-
to-do list. Good idea. I like it.
But is there a way? Go back to your documentation for relational fields.
Mhm.
Is there not a sorting of relational
Yeah.
separate?
Right.
There's a sorting for relational.
There.
Yeah, okay, that's where I've used it. Yeah. I thought there was a relational sorting option. Maybe I'm using the select one, but I thought there was.
Good
Yeah,
No,
double
I have
check.
a join option. I don't remember having a.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's in the
Relational.
select box. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was the select box.
Yeah.
Let me double check I'm gonna check my settings here. Got me curious. Build something. I forgot how I did it. Sessions. Speakers. I didn't even turn on sort options in that. Interesting.
All right, let's see what else we got in here.
Yeah, interestingly enough, for select, I didn't turn on sort options. But it's like a list, it's a tag, like a select drop,
mhm.
and it is taking. Oh, no, it isn't. Yeah, it's just auto sorted by alphabet, by label, it looks like.
Yes. I think I do sort selects by default by the label. So I should probably do that for radios as well. Although I probably won't sort it by default for radios. I think it makes sense to sort the select options by default, but not radios. Because radios, I feel you could have a very specific order that you'd want it to be in.
Yes.
Such as
And
yes,
how could you,
such as yes
but how
and
could
no
you-
instead of no and yes, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Next up. I'm not going to go through everything I did. I did a shit ton of work. I just got flagged by YouTube. For being official support for PHP 8.4. Okay. So a lot of code change. Man, that was a lot of work. Okay. But I'm glad I did it. It was on my I have to get this done before launch thing. So there we go. But we're not gonna go through that. Caching. Okay, caching. There is a new there in it. Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to shake that cache. Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let me open up a system that actually has caching enabled. 1 second. Here. Oops, wrong password. Yeah, go away. 1Password. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, caching. Okay. Caching is very important for a nice, speedy, zippy website. But it can be annoying as heck when you're actually actively designing a website. Okay. So how do we combat this? Okay. First off, at the very top, this isn't new, but I haven't talked in depth about all the caching options on a stream yet. So I figured I'd take a few minutes to do that right now. If you are actively developing a site, I totally ripped off a feature from Cloudflare called development mode. Okay. And you can turn on development mode in Total CMS 3, and it will disable caching for 3 hours. Okay. In 3 hours, it'll automatically turn off so that you don't forget to turn it off. And our websites will return back to having cache. Okay. So a very cool feature, this development mode toggle. Okay. Now, what are all the caching options and which ones should you be using with Total CMS 3? Okay. The short version, and make sure your host has OP cache and APCU, and you're good to go. Okay. Now let me dive into the long version. Okay. Essentially, there are 3 different types of caching that Total CMS 3 leverages. One type of cache is OP cache. Okay. And this is something that is a cache. Well, let's back up. If you're ever aware, or if your PHP itself is a language that is not compiled, right? That is why we can publish PHP pages. We can see all the code, right? It is not compiled. It is just text. But computers need to compile that code down so that it can be executed, okay, by the interpreter. Now, for every single request, if it can slow things down if every single request, the PHP has to be compiled and then executed, and then the results passed down to you. So what OP cache does, or one of the things that it can do, is it actually pre-compiles your pages, or it actually saves the compiled version of your code in memory so that it doesn't need to be compiled every single time at every request. So OP cache, it's something that is Total CMS itself doesn't necessarily have control over the contents of that cache. But I have coded the ability to clear it. Okay. So whenever you clear this cache, it will flush all the OP cache, which is really, really nice. Okay. I think that is something that a lot of hosting companies, I think, have enabled, and it drives people insane because you publish changes and you don't see them. Okay. So yeah, this fixes that. But it also makes an insane performance improvement on your website. Okay, it really does. All right. Next up, actually, I'm gonna skip these 3. We're gonna come back to those, and I'm gonna dip down to file system cache. There's just some things that can't be cached by OP cache or these other 3 that we're gonna talk about in a minute, and I have to cache some things on the file system. Okay. A lot of that's to do with Twig and whatnot. Okay. And so, yeah, that just uses files on your system, and every host supports that. So there we go. But you can see kind of how many files are in there and whatnot. Okay. Okay. So now APC, Redis, and memcached. Effectively, they're all the same. Okay. They're different caching systems that I can store and retrieve data from. I support all 3 of these just in case your host supports one and not the other. However, as you see in this system, I've enabled all of them. Okay. But even though I've enabled all of them, the order in which they're used is APC is prioritized. And then if that isn't installed, it will use Redis. And if that is not installed, it will use memcached. Okay. So that's kind of the order in which they are used on the system. So what do these do for us? So as you're aware, okay, let's look at Total CMS saves all of its data in these files on the file system. So as you see inside TCMS data, I have all these JSON files that store all of the data. Okay. And these index files can actually be quite large. If you have 10,000 objects, it has like a summary of all the objects, right? So essentially, whenever, let's say, an index is requested, so if I were to go into my collection, let's go into, I'm in a different system. Let's go to blog. I don't know how many I have. Okay. But here I'm in blog, and every time I hit this page, it has to go and read from the file system, read in the JSON file, suck it in, convert the JSON into actual data that it can be processed with the PHP, and then it displays it. Okay. So the action of going into the file system, reading in the file, and getting all that data, okay, can take some obviously some processing time. So what these cache things do, APC, Redis, and memcached, what these allow us to do is to, instead of every single time it's requested, go to the file system and read in the file, it will store that content in memory. Okay, so basically, what Total CMS does, if it sees it as one of these systems enabled, it says, hey, do you have this in memory already? If you do, just give it to me really quick, or else I'm going to have to go to the file system and read it in from the file system, right? So that's essentially what these three pieces of the cache systems do, is it just helps us not have to constantly access files from the file system. Now, modern hosting services are using probably very fast SSDs. So, you know, are we gaining a lot? Not as much as the OP cache, okay, but we are gaining some performance improvements. So there we go. Any questions on that? All right. If you click this clear cache button, all of this cache here is nuked, all of it. Okay. So yeah, that's what that clear cache button does. All right. Now, none of this has to do with image caching. Okay. This clear cache button here will not clear off any image cache at all. If you really want to clear off your image cache, you can do so down here. And you can select the collection that you want to clear out cache from. And you have a nice little report that shows you how many images are cached in that collection and how much file size that takes up. Okay. So if you're looking to, you know, release some file system space, maybe you can look here to see if the cached images are actually being, you know, using up a lot of space. Okay. Now, these cached images are, I mean, once you visit the web page, they're just going to get recreated anyway. Okay, so it is kind of a necessary evil here. Now, one thing I should note is, let's say you had 10,000 blog posts and you decided to change the thumbnail size on all of them on the blog post page. Okay, that's something you might want to go in here and clear the cache, because the cached version of those 10,000 thumbnails are going to be on the file system. So if you change that on the live production websites, you're now going to have 20,000 cached images, if that makes sense, right? So you could clear it off, make sure all the old versions of the images are no longer cached, and then the new ones will then get recreated. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions there? No. And I'm not going to dive into the entire demo. I did a demo of the batch image processor. If you wanted to pre-create pre-cache images, this is a great way to do that. Okay. All right. Any more questions? I guess not. I did a bunch of work on PHP EXIF data. I won't go into that. It's just better. Okay. Extracting EXIF data from images is much more reliable now. Okay. And the data looks nicer. I did a lot of cleanup there. A nicety for pro users, no matter where you are inside of a collection view, right? So I'm not sure if this has the latest version, but if no matter where you are in the collection view, These buttons up here will always be visible. Okay. But not only that, it doesn't matter where you are. If you just do Command N, it doesn't work in Arc. In Arc, you have to use Control N. Okay. But it will always take you to a new object form for the collection that you are in, which is pretty nice. Okay. You could thank Josh because he was too lazy to scroll up and click on a new post button.
First of all, the new plus button was the new post button wasn't even there. You added both of them at the same time. Too lazy. You had to hit blog, then you had to go new post again. You added both at the same time. Don't even start with me.
Oh, Josh.
Okay. I think that was it for beta 38.
Why would people want rapid input? Horrible.
Man, exactly. Okay. Let's go to beta 39. Let's go to product updates here. Beta 39 right here. Cool. Beta 39 wasn't really a planned beta. We can actually thank Josh. Okay, now that I ripped Josh, let's go ahead and compliment him. You can all thank him for most of the features in here because he was building the site. With his permission, I might show it so we can see a live production use of what these features do. Yeah, we can thank him for a lot of these enhancements. Okay. Let's see. Are there anything that isn't related? I think all these are pretty much related. There is a couple bug fixes, but yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah. All right. Josh, it's okay if I visit that site and show it off?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
cool. All right, so WNP, there it is, WNPA. All right, so this site it uses Total CMS to manage conference registrations and conference speakers and whatnot. Okay, and so when I visit this particular web page, we have the ability to create an account or log into an existing account. Okay. So let's pretend I don't have an account. Josh, I'm going to create another separate account. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
She's one of your Joes. That's fine.
Yeah. So we'll just do Joe 3. Okay. And then we're going to put in some data in here. Okay. And we'll use, all right. And I'm going to sign up. And what this does is that is an active Total CMS form. Okay. And what that did is that created a new user inside a user's collection. Okay. You're going to have to visualize that. I'm not going to show you. Okay. And then what that did is it then, after it created the account, it redirected us to log in. All right. So now I'm going to log in with the email that I just, the account that I just created. Okay. And then what that did is after I logged in, it took me back to the same page. And because I'm logged in, it now shows me this ViberCart form that allows me to then now purchase tickets. Okay. Pretty slick. So that entire process took quite a bit of little, working to get the redirects, working how we wanted. Another thing is I'm going to go ahead and log out. Okay. If we went to, let's go to the login form. Oh, wait, let's go to the create account form. Okay. As you know, with Total CMS, when you have a form, you can edit existing objects with the same form that you create new ones with. Well, the problem with that is if this is a public facing form, anyone who's clever enough, if they potentially could figure out someone's ID, right? They could add ID equals whatever to the URL, and then they couldn't, in theory, edit someone else's account information. Okay. Obviously, that's a huge security hole, right? So what we've done is, let me go ahead and open up a project. Let's go to, is it this one? All right. Yep. Okay. So if we go to a custom form, there is a new checkbox that says add only form. Okay. That means that this form can only be used to add new objects or create new objects and not edit existing ones. So now that security hole of I can add the ID via the URL to edit someone with this form doesn't work. Okay. So this custom form, you check this add only form box, very important. Okay. And that will plug that hole. Does that make sense? Okay. Then now, Josh, I think with we use the redirect to URL, correct? Is that what we had to use?
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
you did the
Right?
redirect to URL.
So we redirect to, remember in this page, we redirect after it successfully created a new user. Okay. We can redirect to the URL, and you can put whatever URL you want. We put in the URL to the login form. Okay, so that the user can be directed to the login page. Then they can log in, and that will the login page is by default will redirect us back to where we were. Okay, you can also add in a redirect option, I think, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
This
you
one.
can do redirect.
This one was still the hack though. This is the
Okay,
hack version.
yeah.
That one is still the hack with the tilde hack, the
Yep.
comma or the quote.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can just put in the URL, and if you want to redirect after they log in, if you want to redirect them back to a specific URL after login, you could just do you would do here, let's add in a URL, right? You would put in a URL, and then you would put question mark redirect equals, okay, and then you would put in another URL after that. And so what this is going to do is you'd put in the URL to your login form, okay, and you can get that from the browser. And then then you can do, maybe I'll add an option here to redirect to login form. That'd actually probably be a good idea.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah, that'd probably be that would fix our problem.
But you have to make sure you still have the option to do the custom
redirect.
collection.
Yes, yeah. That's a good
Oh,
idea.
no. Not the redirect, the custom collection.
Yes, 100%. Hold on, let me add that to my list. I like that idea.
Making things better.
Okay. So I will add options for you guys to do this. So yeah, but if you wanted to do it today, you could add a question mark redirect, and then that'll sets up the redirect page to where you want to redirect after you log in. Okay. Cool. So that is, let's see, what else did we do? So we did I did that. Probably improved it. Yep. Okay. Okay. Better redirect options, enhanced super admin. Oh, okay. Now, so as you might be aware, for authentication, see if I have one. Let me go to a different, again, that is in, if you go into the collections and you go into auth and you go into, this is my dev server, which has nothing. Let's go into the auth collection, which here I am. Okay. You'll see that in here, you would do groups and you would set it to be admin. Okay. So if you are in the auth collection and you are in the admin group, you have essentially God rights. Okay. You can go anywhere in Total CMS 3. Any questions on that? Okay.
I have a related question to the auth though.
Sure.
When you created the form for add only, I'm assuming that you can later create a form where the user can edit some of their data.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Once they've logged in, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then that obviously that one wouldn't have, because then you would only show that form to the logged in
Right.
user, and
Exactly.
you would load in their particular so inside the form, you would not do, you would say load specific object, right? So you would load in the form for their account only. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's this load specific object, right?
Right.
Because when they're logged in, you only want to show their form. You don't even want them to be like a generic form where they'd be like,
That's
they'd
how
be
you
able
do
to fuck with the URL to get somebody else's account, right? So here we're loading a specific object, their object.
it. Okay.
And then if you wanted, you can do a partial update form, and then you can have a form that has only their password or something like that, right? So if you wanted to say
Right.
update password, that's how you would do it. You would load in their specific object, partial update, and then you have the password field. Boom. And then the person could update their own password.
All right, what was the load object area? Where are you loading the object?
So it's right here. So you would put in the object ID, right? And then what you would do is you would have where is user data? So you would add the user data stack right here, right? So you'd have this user data on the page, right? And so that loads in the logged in user, okay? And what you
And
would
then
do here is you would just put in use variable, and the object ID is user.id. And at that
perfect
point, that would, and then the collection obviously it wouldn't be products, it would be
members.
members, right?
Perfect.
And then, yeah, so then that would allow, that would load in their specific object form, and they couldn't load in anybody else's.
Oh,
Great.
random side note on loading objects. Had a really fun time the other day with SEO and trying to load the object before the SEO got injected. If you put the load object in the SEO helper stack, it loads first. That's a
Yeah.
nice trick that you have right now. I appreciate that trick.
Yes, if you want to use any twig variables inside SEO helper, you have to load it inside SEO helper specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I'll fix that. It actually requires an update to SEO helper, and it's something that will be in the next big upgrade of SEO helper that will be stack 6 only.
It's pretty good.
All right. I think that does it for all the changes in the last 2 upgrades. One thing I thought would be fun to try to build. Okay, so Johan, he had a problem, right? And he wants manual sorting of objects. Okay. And I don't have an actual demo of to show you. Let's close this. Okay. Let me clean up. I have too many tabs open here. All right. So he wants to be able to say, let's say I go into members and I want to manually sort these things. I don't want to sort them alphabetically. Like I need a manual way of sorting these. And the way Total CMS is built right now, I don't see that ever being possible. Okay, for this collection to just drag and drop these and have a manual sort. Okay. The reason is this data is based off the index, okay? And this index gets rebuilt in a lot of different ways, okay? And it has to be rebuilt dynamically, okay? And by manually defining an order here, that essentially means that I can no longer dynamically rebuild the index, which takes up it eliminates a lot of stuff in Total CMS 3. Like that, it's a pretty core thing. Okay. So I got thinking outside the box on other ways that we could accomplish this. So it got me thinking, well, there is something that we have, okay, that does allow us to drag and drop and define an order. Okay. And that is tags. So in tags, I can drag and drop these and define and have them saved as an order. Okay. Now, I do have to say the version beta 39, there was actually, I introduced a bug where the order wouldn't be saved properly. So in the next beta, the order will be saved. Okay. I fixed it already. But so the order in which these are dragged in will be saved. Okay. So what if, and tags also supports, or list fields also supports relational options, just as I see here, right? Now, this particular one only allows me to select one, but if I have relational options and the ability to sort them, can I leverage that to define some sort of sort order for my web page? Right? And so yeah, I think the answer to that is yes. Okay. If you guys like, I can try to set that up. It might take a little while for me to set it up and to show it off.
We'll take your word at it. Take your word.
Okay. But yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. Just a general gist of the workflow for that, okay, is basically we would define the order of our tags, okay, and then on the web page side, what I would do is, I would create a new collection that the only purpose of it is to have a select box that maintains the order. Okay, just as I can have a generic text collection that contains bits of text, I would create a generic collection that is the sole purpose is to define the sort order of, let's say, my members collection. Okay. And in there, I would have one object, or maybe if you had multiple, if you wanted different sort opportunities for different places, whatever, right? You would have one object that would then, the only thing would be in it would be a list, and it would be the drag and drop order of those items. Okay. Or in this case, members. Then, okay, on the content side, how do we do that? Essentially, what I would do is I would load a specific object. Okay, so I'd probably use object loader. I hit the wrong button.
Just a quick question, Joe.
Sure.
Could you have groups of members?
Possibly. You could probably do some sort of filtering based on tags. Possibly, yeah. You could have maybe multiple of those list options, and each one was a different category, and then each one had the manual sort order inside of there. Again, I think this is very edge case. I mean, the manual sorting of, and you can't really do it with a lot of data. Like, who wants to manually sort a lot of data, right? So, but anyway, so okay, let me get back to this. So we're gonna do an object loader, and we're going to do, again, I'm just conceptualizing this here. I'm not going to build it all out. Where is data loaders? Right here. Okay, so we would do an object loader, and then here I would load in, let's say my collection is lists, and I would do, maybe it's sort members, okay? Or actually, that's probably my collection, actually, sort. My collection is going to be sort members, and my object ID is, I don't know, whatever, sort members again. Okay, whatever you define it as. Okay, so I'm loading in this object. Okay, and let's just the variable is sorted. Okay, all right, here we'll just do sort members again. So and then in here I would then well, actually we wouldn't loop through the collection. There's actually there's a new stack called for loop. Okay. And so here I have sort members, and what I would do is I would say I would let's see, the loop variable is member ID. Now remember what we're getting at is this is a sort members has a, let's say, a property called list. Okay. And that list is a list of IDs of members. Does that make sense? All right. So what I'm going to do now is I have sort members. So I'm going to do sort members dot list. Okay. Because list is the name of the property. Okay. Again, I didn't create that whole schema and whatnot. Okay. But let's say I'm going to now sort through, I'm going to go through sort members dot list, and each one of those is a member ID. Does that make sense? Now that I have that member ID, okay, I could then inside this loop use that member ID to get that member's information and display it. All right. So in here, you could then do object loader, and then you would load in from members. The object ID is member ID. That is a variable. Okay. And the variable name is member. So now I have access to member, and then I can do whatever I want now. So a little complex, right? But yeah, I definitely wouldn't do this with thousands of things. But if you have a list of members, that's not too much. I don't think you would see, especially if you have caching enabled, it would be pretty fast. Because you have to think, okay, so I'm just thinking from a data access thing, right? I'm here, this sort members. This is going to the file system. It's getting all my, it's fetching all of the sorted list. Okay. Then we're going to loop through that. And then this is going to go to the file system, and it's going to get all the data for that member on every single iteration of the loop. Okay. Now it's possible that we could there's probably some twig we can come up with if I loaded in a members collection up here. Where the fuck's data loaders? Data loaders here. Man, I haven't gotten used to the colors yet. I can't wait till I have custom stack icons. All right. All right. So if I did members, all right, let's just say this loads in the members collection. Okay. It's probably possible for me to, based on this and this, like have some twig that basically sorts this to match this. I'm sure that's possible. And at that point, that would actually be faster than having an object loader inside the for loop. Okay. So you could potentially do it that way as well, but that's some custom twig code that we'd have to figure out. But anyway, any questions on that? This is definitely a simpler kind of solution for sure. And if you have caching, this is going to be ultimately pretty darn quick.
It will be good.
All right, there we go. Any questions?
I have
even non-total CMS questions. I'm happy to talk about whatever.
first the CMS questions. I have two roadmap questions. You've
Okay.
talked about active pieces integration. Is that a pre-launch or post-launch?
So you can do it now. It does work. You just have to use a HTTP request. And then you'd have to yeah, I mean, all the docs for all the API routes are in the docs, but will I get it done before launch? That's probably a very soon after launch thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
just curious. Okay, I haven't looked at my active pieces in a while, so I don't know.
Okay.
The other one was you talked about replacing the style text.
Yes, I do plan on that. Will that might be, it all depends on how quickly what my to-do list is, how I get through it. That might be a very shortly after post-launch thing. Right? It's something I definitely want to do as soon as possible, but I don't think I'm gonna let it hinder me launching. Okay. So yeah. I know in an ideal world, I would do it before launch so that it's all done. But I really want to get this launched. So yeah, I think it's for the best that I probably delay that till after launch. Very soon after launch though. It's on my short list of things along with active pieces.
So I know we may have talked about this privately and I forget. Is there a thought process of having different login screen messages for the different user groups?
Um,
Because like right now you
yes.
have that
It's the
data.
same. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
So I haven't when I build out the template stuff, I'll try to think about what we can do for that.
Because like I know you can put that you have it that you can put those two files, the pre and the after. But if you could just have one where it just appends the collection, so then we can have an additional file for the other collection, then that would just make it easy.
I can agree with that. Maybe not. I'll have to think about the best way to implement that, but yeah, I can agree. Maybe another potential option is to have twig code inside the template that you can be like, hey, am I in the user collection or the member collection? So you can actually have twig in there to do if logic. I think that would be cool anyway. So maybe I'll implement twig support in there, which it actually might already work. I'm not sure.
Does that also support HTML in that file, or we can add
you
CSS?
can add HTML and CSS. Yeah, I mean, you can add your own. That's how if we looked here.
Yeah, I saw that was like the background color and the logo.
Yep, that's just CSS inside the template.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we can go to town with that. That's fun.
Yep. Yeah.
Joe, there's that keep me signed in option that you added recently that I don't know. I don't think it's working for me. It's if I come back a few hours later, I have to log in again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you try it? Does it work for you?
I mean, I'm constantly flushing my system because I'm always testing. So it's yeah. I'm always obliterating everything just to test it from scratch again. So okay, I'll add it to my to-do list to look into.
Yeah. Well, what's actually really cool is since I published with Git, I use that emergency cache link, and every time I publish with Git, it auto clears the cache for Total CMS for me. So on publish, it instantly clears the cache, which is so nice.
Yeah,
very nice. Another plus Davide to Git publishing. Speaking of which, Joe, I don't know, did Davide talk to you about his issue? You can't access any of his Total CMS on his server right now.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one specific website. It's not all of them, but I'll let you know afterward. Like,
okay, sounds good.
Give me an hour. I'll go eat something and then I'll send you a message.
Okay. I've been playing for the past 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks on all the licensing store stuff. It's not in a state for me to show that off right now, but it's coming along well.
Exciting.
So,
and authentication for API calls.
Oh yes, that's on the most likely before launch list.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hubertus, I saw you had a question.
Yeah, maybe you have told it, but I can lay it in. For the members, can you give specific rights for the members? What can they change and what not?
Not yet.
But
if someone is in an auth collection, right now, they can do whatever they want. Okay, in the admin dashboard. However, if you do have a custom admin area, then you have full control over what they have access to and not. But in the admin dashboard, I will have permissions based on groups. But I haven't added that. That'll happen probably after launch. Yeah, I want to give the ability. So, what collections do they have access? Like maybe you want to limit what collections they have access to. Do you want them to be able to create, edit, delete? Do you want them to be able to access schemas or not? Right. So we'll hide all those interface components based on the groups. Oops, you're muted. Or I can't hear you. That's weird. Or maybe it's me.
So now you can hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry, it's the wrong mic. Yeah, but I want to give them specific options to what they can change. So as you say, if it's possible in the
Not right
future.
now, but in the future, yes.
Okay.
Now that being said, if you went the route of building your own admin, then you could do something like that. With the stacks.
Yes.
It'd be a custom admin versus using the Total CMS 3 admin, which you can totally do.
Okay.
And that's possible now.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you didn't know, so I'm not sure if I've really shown off the security stacks. Maybe I can give a quick overview of those. Right. So it's these three stacks here. Okay, the authentication. It's really we have two stacks we have access to. Okay. So first is page lock. Okay. And when you add page lock to the page, this will lock an entire page. Okay. So if someone visits this page and they are not logged in, they will automatically get redirected to the login page. Okay. And in here, you can say what authentication collection. The default is off. So if it's turned off, it will use the auth collection. But if you had a members collection, you would add in members. Okay. So that means someone has to be logged into the members collection in order to access this page. And then on top of that, you can also add groups. Okay. So here you can say, in order to access this entire page, you have to be able to in the members group and then in one of these groups, right? So that allows you to lock down an entire web page. Okay. Now, there's also the section lock stack. And what that does is it has similar ability, but instead of locking down an entire page, it will basically show and hide stuff on the page based on if you're logged in or not, right?
And that's the same thing I use on that WNPA site.
Exactly.
If you for switching out the cart, and if you noticed in the navigation, it switches out the link to sign in or sign up or log out.
So on this page here, if you notice, this URL is the same URL as if I were to log in. Okay, but when I'm logged out, we see this, and up here we see a button that says sign up. Okay, the web page is the same. It's just these components are inside of a section lock, so that when I'm not logged in, I see this, right? And if I go ahead and log in, right now I'm logged in. You'll notice that because I'm logged in, I see this on this web page, and up here instead of the sign up, I see log out. Right? That's all done with the section lock stack. Super simple stack, but really powerful. Right? And again, you can control it based on the authentication or the collection as well as the groups. And there's also else content. So if they're logged in, else show this. Right?
Yeah, so like for instance, that site right now, when Joe signed up, he signed up as a regular user, no user group. Then when we add in the user group of member, then additional content is then available because now he's a member in that user group, which then gives additional content. It's like a paying members content.
Yep.
I don't know if nobody else has anything right now.
Go for it.
Non CMS question.
Sure.
Moving box 3.
Mm-hmm.
I like the slider syncing where you have the two different syncs,
Mm-hmm.
and the vertical layout is what I want, but I can't seem to get it to work with only 3 slides. it works great with 4 slides, but with 3, the it always scrolls out, and then the first slide never comes back into in the synchronized section on the vertical side. It never comes back in. Um, so
Hmm.
it doesn't quite work right, at least because what I wanted to be able to do is have a like a center main object, and then like the other one would almost work like buttons or indicators to show where you are in the list.
So,
Um,
and you're
but
showing
but
how many at a time vertically?
3. So there's only
Oh,
3
but
objects,
then you only have 3 slides.
right? There's
Okay,
only 3
yeah.
slides, and there's only right, and right. There's only 3 slides, and you're showing 3. Um, it doesn't work. I was trying to figure. I could switch to using do the same thing with like a tabs interface.
Mm-hmm.
Have the things with tabs, but then you can't have it automate. You can't have it show. You can only a person has to actually press the
So it's
buttons as a
okay.
right.
Yeah. Um. hmm. Now let's see if we can replicate it real quick. All right. So here's the demo project. Let's see. The slider syncing's down here, I think. Where is it?
Right
Oh,
there.
here. All right. So here I have. Let's see. How many do I have?
You have 5 or
I
6.
have 5. All right. So let's do. All right. So now I have 3. And let's go over here. Swap slides. 3. Yeah.
And then when it animates, the
Oh,
A never comes back.
yeah. But if I just add a 4th in here,
Yeah,
it
works fine.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Can you not hide the fourth one?
Yeah. The reason, I mean, I know the reason for that, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it is fixable. Because essentially, yeah, what you're looking for is like a tabbed interface where you click on this, and but then you probably want it to automatically circulate through them, maybe, so that it kind of goes A, B, C, and kind of circles through them.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Um. I know what it's doing. So A, like right now we don't see A. A is actually here and it's down here.
Hmm.
It actually duplicates it, right? So that if it doesn't matter what direction you go into, you end up with A because it's invisible here and down here. And yeah, when you only have 3, those elements don't exist. Um, so yeah, I don't think that's fixable without a lot of work.
Yeah, no. Then
Yeah.
maybe just tabs, but no way to animate the tabs.
Mhm. Yeah.
I know I've seen something like this somewhere on some sites, and I need to find one and see what they're doing. It's probably just, I mean, you could probably do it in JavaScript, but I don't want to run that around.
Yeah. AI does know Foundation pretty well, and if you use the Foundation tabs, I mean, there is JavaScript just say go to tab B, go to tab C,
Oh,
and then it just say, hey, just create a little loop that every 5 seconds. But then you have a lot of these edge cases, like if someone's looking at that tab and they click on it, you don't want that JavaScript to run because
right.
so yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a rabbit hole of things where you think, oh, I can create a little timer that just automatically swifts through them, right? But then you need their mouse hovers over it, then you need to pause that. And if it hovers out, you need to resume it, And so, yeah, all these edge case little scenarios you'd have to take into account.
Okay, then I'll stop playing. The most important thing is knowing that it's not possible. Trying to keep playing with it and seeing you just
Yeah,
stop.
fair. Cool. Any other questions? CMS related or un-CMS related, and happy to help out with anything.
We do. No, I'm just having a bowl of a time with that URL filter inside of the CSV feed. I'm like, the bald spot is starting to go down, so I took my hat off to be reminded to relax.
You figuring it out?
Well, Josh and I were working late last night, and I'm going to be annoying the crap out of him tomorrow. But like when we have a URL filter and I'm dynamically loading things, what are little key points inside of that URL filter box when you're doing that feeds filter so that I'm dynamically creating service pages? That was the key. That's the
Yeah,
part that always gets me like, ah. So I'll open up my last project. Where was it? There we go. You understand what I'm talking about, right?
totally.
So this like I'm at the point now where actually being able to move to that level is just, fantastic considering I couldn't figure out which end of an HTML stack to use.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, so if you have any hints, then I can potentially not annoy Josh too much tomorrow.
So, okay, I'm very visual, so you kind of give me a clue at what we're working with, and I can definitely give you some pointers.
So inside of my CS, I have feeds, right?
Hmm.
Then I have the CSV feed. Then I have the um, what did I do?
I gotta step away for a sec, but I think he just needs to edit the link with the key that it loads the ID into the post page. He has like a feeds post page,
Oh,
if
you're
I remember
using
correctly.
feeds to do a blog type thing? Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go. I'm on the wrong thing. So like
You're not
where it's
sharing your screen if you think you are.
oh joy. Okay. So here we go. I'm in here. And what I did is we set up the CSV table. And what I wanted to do is make a post page, kind of like what we used to do in what we did in here. So what I'm trying to do is get this to just have one service on that page.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I'm creating dynamic pages. So when I went into this, and where are we? Let's go here. The CSV data above. That didn't work either. But this is the URL key. That whole thing makes me not understand too much. Because I know it's got to be.
No, you don't use base URL in there. The URL key is so you would just use ID. The URL key is the parameter that you pass to the URL. So it would be just ID if that's what you're going to query.
So how am I passing that? I guess I'm missing how it passes
So
to the image, but
what is the I
Hang
don't know
on.
your CSV data. So your
So
CSV data has an
his
ID.
his ID is it. So it's an ID, right? So all you're gonna do is go back to your list page and edit the link. That's it. Like you don't do anything on this page.
Well, he's on the post page, and so yeah, the URL
ID.
key is going to be ID.
Yeah, it's ID. But he
Yep.
has to do that from his list page. He has to edit to the
Yeah,
link.
we
That's
we
all
can
he
do,
has to
we
do.
can do that. So
Yeah.
set that to ID, okay, and then on the list page on the services page.
uh, here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where is the there? Well, yeah, service listing. So has all your services.
This is the one that's going to have all of them. And if you click into that one
Yes.
service,
Yeah.
it would then take you to that specific page.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So we have to add, where do you have a link anywhere in here? Like in the layout, not in the feed. Yeah.
I was using Anchor, I guess.
It wouldn't be Anchor. You'd have to be.
So this doesn't have a link yet to go anywhere.
Okay. So you're going to have to add one, right? Do you want it to be able to, do you want it to be a button, or is it like, do you want to click on the whole thing, or what do
If
you
you
want it to be?
if you hover over it and click on it, it would be obvious that, okay, because you can see I got a hover effect on it. If you clicked, it would change into a clicking kind of thing.
Okay. So if you want the whole thing, it could be a link container. If you want a button, you add a link button. Um,
Ah, some days I like today's just one of those days. Let's try that again in English. So just a link container.
mhm.
Uh, am I missing something again? Link
It's the red
anchor
one right there.
red. So I would put this in to put that above here, right?
Yes,
And then drop the whole card into the link container.
correct.
And then we're going to make this link container into a link.
Yep.
And that would be mustache base URL ID.
So, well, I need to know the URL. It would be the URL to your services post page,
Um,
and then
oh,
slash, and then I don't. Yeah, it has to be the full. Yeah, services.
yep, that's the page, I believe.
Uh, why don't you set linking? Look at the and go to and verify. I don't. I think it's something else. Just save that. Click set link, and let's go to the other page. Go to services post page and look at the page properties. Okay. Oh, it is services index. Okay.
I think I made a
Then what's
mistake.
the main services page?
I think I made a mistake there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't have those be the same. That one needs to be either rename it to be service.php or something like that instead of index. Or you can do services service. I don't know. It's up to you.
There.
Sure.
Okay, so that is going to come here, and then this is the first time I'm actually getting anything close to something like this. So then that would be placed at the end here.
Correct. Okay. And then you do you have two slashes before services. And then you would do a slash and then question mark ID equals curly brace ID close curly brace. Done.
Okay,
So that passes the ID to the service post page, and then the service post page reads in that ID via your filter, and Bob's your uncle.
so I don't do anything on this page except set it up to receive,
Correct.
but I've managed to put it all back in again. That's the part that I kind of lost my brain on. So what did I
So go to your go to the feed stack. Okay. You see where you say it says ignore filter if not present? Turn
Yeah.
that off because then it won't ignore the filter. And then you can put in an ID for preview if you want to have a specific value to preview. So like you give it an ID that would show up in preview from your CSV data.
I hope David's watching because he said that this was one of those
So
things.
put deeds or notary or something like that. Done.
Okay, so now I just finish out this page, and then I guess I want to add this up here to this menu, but then I did something with the menu that I don't remember what I did, but I did it and it worked well. Oops. This is where I kind of made different versions of that. And I didn't put enough notes down to remember what I did.
I'm not sure what your goal is here.
I think there's a version that if you shrink it down, it goes to one thing and then it goes to another, or I don't recall. I have no idea what I did. But I want to make a drop down now for the services and then have that dynamically fill. So it will dynamically go to that service page. But I'm gonna annoy Josh on.
Okay. Yeah,
Josh,
you would need to probably do a different menu stack, or you could there's a lot of different ways you could potentially do that. But then maybe in a drop down or something, and in the drop down you can have another feed CSV that then loops through or something like that.
because then what I did is I also made it so that if you're on that page, it stays stuck up at top.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know how to do that with Stack, so I went to Chat GPT and annoyed the crap out of
I mean, you
Chat.
don't. One thing to be wary of is, I mean, you don't have to put every page in your menu, right? So, um, I guess services, it could make sense to have something up there if you really wanted to.
Okay, thank you. So that's fixed. I'll go play with this for the rest of the day. And then
Sweet.
I'm going to do the same thing for the other site that I'm working on. And then I'm going to go back to the paint one. So I've got 3 sites I've been plugging away at, but thank you.
Awesome. Score.
I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how you get it over there. So now I'm going to
Mhm.
go back and put those notes someplace while I'm working on that. So thanks, Josh, for jumping on that too.
Anything else, guys? No. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it quits then. Sweet.
Any
Well,
any fun stuff you picked up on on AppSumo or these other places recently? Or
nah, I've had blinders on for those places for right now.
every
maybe
day there's
after maybe after I ship Total CMS 3.
okay. Well, I'm looking forward to this, this building of all these sites right now and getting them stylized. So that's kind
Sweet.
of fun.
Yeah, good job, dude. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Hopefully, we'll see some of you on Friday at the Hangout. You take care. Bye.
Thanks a lot.